Come on in. Welcome, everybody. This is the first time that I have gone live in like an office hours setting in years. So I was prompted, encouraged to do this by my friend Melanie Diane Howe, who knew me many years ago when I first started my business, and I had a Facebook group called the Rockstar Solopreneurs. And I used to go live every single week inside our Facebook group and do kind of office hours and talk about social media and productivity and entrepreneurship. And it was something that I really loved doing at the time. And my business evolved and some things had to go and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so we reconnected and she said, I used to love that you did these. You need to start going live again. So here I am. Thank you, Melanie. All right. Today we are kicking off our YouTube live with talking about the absolute best productivity hack, particularly for Monday mornings. And this was all predicated by the colossal social media outage that happened yesterday. So as we all know, Facebook and Instagram and their related apps, I think it was WhatsApp and Messenger and a few other things, were down for like 5 or 6 hours, right? Everybody was freaking out. And what I saw was a whole bunch of emails roll in from many people I know in the online entrepreneurship, online business world, talking about, what do you do when Facebook and Instagram go down? And here's what to do about it, and buy my course to teach you about email, or buy my course to teach you about multiple streams of income, all this kind of stuff. It was like there was blood in the water and the sharks were circling. So I was caught up in this yesterday as well, because I was actually going to post a video on Instagram that had to do with a contest that I am entering for a Shopify store. And, it took me all of 5 minutes to figure out Instagram was down and Facebook was down. And I got over it real quick because I have no love lost for either of those platforms. And what happened the rest of the day was I was insanely productive. Okay. I got through every single one of the things on every single item on my to-do list yesterday was completed. And I'm talking all 3 like must-do priorities for the day, as well as like the running list of little stuff that often gets rolled over to the next day, or I do when I'm eating lunch or need a brain break or whatever. So yes, everybody was talking about, diversifying your income and not being reliant on social media and all this kind of stuff. But what people weren't really talking about is how much more productive it made people. I'm assuming it was more than just me, with no other choice, right? So here's what I want you to come back to. Using social media, how you use it, how much you use it, is a choice. There's a lot of people that will say you can't run a business, in the online space without being on Instagram or having a free Facebook group or all this kind of stuff. All of this is up to you as a business owner, and it is your choice. So I agree that there is some necessity for how you market your business and where you choose to do that and all of that kind of stuff. But what I want you to remember is that it is a tool, and you can have some really easy structures actually to put in place around how you use those social media tools, so you can get back to being super productive and actually getting through your to-do list, or at least accomplishing the most important things for the day. So what I am going to tell you is what I realized yesterday was a hack that happened on accident, right? So I will often uninstall social media apps on my phone like Friday night, and just have it off my phone for the weekend. And what's really interesting when I do that is I will notice when I've fallen into I open up my phone and I automatically go to these apps to scroll or check notifications or comments or, whatever it is, and how second nature it is and how we don't even think about it. It's like Pavlovian. So when you take these apps off your phone for a designated period of time, you will notice those bad habits that you've fallen into because you'll go into your phone, go to click on Instagram and it's not, and then you're like, well, what am I doing here? Kind of like, right? Don't go find some other thing to do to waste your time. Like put your phone down and, go do something else. So the hack that I am going to suggest that you try, particularly if you're already brave enough to uninstall social media on the weekend, is leave it off on Monday. Don't reinstall your social media apps until Tuesday morning. For me, as a work from home mom, I love Mondays. Mondays are when I get my house back. I get my quiet space in my office without like little faces pressed up against the French doors to my office, right? And I'm not interrupted. Like hubby goes to work, it's quiet, and I love having that time to myself. So Monday morning is often my super creative content creation time. It's also the one day of the week where I have no meetings. I have one 15-minute team meeting in the morning. But as far as clients and discovery calls, anything else like that, I have no meetings on Mondays because I know that that's my most creative time. And so the best productivity hack that I'm going to give you is go beyond taking your social media apps off your phone for the weekend. Leave them off for Monday morning as well, and see how you start your week by getting way ahead of what you need to accomplish for the week, the projects that you're working on and your priorities, by having that truly focused time on Monday. So really think of yesterday as a gift that highlighted how much we can accomplish when we're not distracted by other people's business and profits and ads and everything else that they suck you into. Okay. So the other piece of this live that I want to do for you today is talking about the importance of not relying on other people's platforms. Facebook and Instagram went down. It was 2019, I think. There was something very similar where everybody was freaking out, right? And there is a difference between the internet going down when it affects things you can do. Like I remember several times in 2020 when everything Google was down, and my business relies on Google Drive, Google Docs, spreadsheets, that kind of stuff to do the actual work inside my business. So that is different than social media. But when you rely on other people's platforms and things happen, right? This was like the most Mercury retrograde thing ever, what happened yesterday. It can definitely affect your business, right? Maybe the worst thing that happened yesterday was you didn't get to go live in your Facebook group, or you have to reschedule everything that was scheduled to go out for Instagram, or whatever it is. That can all be rescheduled and redone. But what happens if you lose your audience, or it really goes down, or, for like a long period of time? And this is where everybody starts talking about your website and your email list are the two properties online that you own. Now, granted, that also relies on your hosting being capable and up and whatever, in your email service provider not having an outage or whatever it is. But those are, for all intents and purposes, the two properties that you own online: your website and your email list. So I want to tell you a little story about when I was the social media manager for the band Megadeth and Dave Mustaine. And this was before I started my own business. This was like 2012 to almost 2015. And if you all remember, the huge Facebook algorithm change that basically killed organic reach happened, I think it was 2014. I had been like a free volunteer, and then I was helping out with basically all the social media stuff. And then about a month before that happened, they promoted me in title only to the social media manager. So what happened was, I'd be doing reporting every, month or so. And we noticed that organic reach took a huge nosedive. And when you are managing social media for, I think their Facebook page, I got them up from 6 million likes to like 8.5 million likes on their Facebook page. You really notice with those kinds of numbers when there's an issue or a problem. So what happened is we started seeing these organic reach, engagement, comment, share numbers start nosediving. And this was like a month after they made me social media manager, and nobody knew what was happening because Facebook hadn't come out and said, yes, we did this yet. So that was awkward, scrambling to try and figure out what was happening. And no, I swear it's not my fault. It was pretty stressful. But what we did, and again, this was way back in 2014, was we said, well, this is Facebook. All the 8.5 million fans on your Facebook page belong to Facebook. Well, Dave didn't like that very much because, his music, his creativity, his fans, all of that kind of stuff. And it wasn't really like a common thing way back then to be like, well, yeah, Facebook owns their platform. They own all the content and information. People hadn't really realized that yet, even though that was the case. And so, what we said was, listen, these fans, like, yes, they're yours, but Facebook owns them on this platform. And Dave's response was, well, then we're going to build our own Facebook. One of the things I always admired about Dave was like nothing was out of reach or off limits. And I love that. I think everybody's got to have some of that to be successful in life. Okay. But building a Megadeth Facebook was not going to happen. So what are the other solutions here? Well, we turned to beefing up the fan club, which was on a private like website, forums that you had to log in and all that kind of stuff. And we started their email marketing. We were able to piggyback off of Universal Music's email service provider. They let us do that. And we started setting out email newsletters for show information and new merch releases and all this kind of stuff that, like, yeah, everybody does that now, but they weren't doing that in 2014, not so much. So I don't agree with everybody using yesterday as an opportunity to like, hey, buy my course. So, because you're afraid of this or whatever, the fear mongering stuff, I'm totally over it. But it highlights, one, how much more productive you can be when you're not distracted by social media and you have good self-imposed rules about how you use those tools. And two, how important it is to realize how much you are subject to those platforms and what you own versus what they own. So, if you agree with me, comment down below. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If you want to be notified when I am going live, I am intending on doing this almost every week as my schedule allows to get back to live office hours, talking all about productivity and entrepreneurship. And today I want to share with you the best way to get on my email list. I have started I don't know if it's old school, but I am doing a Sunday inspo email. This is not full of a whole bunch of anecdotal stories about my life that is intended to move you through a funnel to buy something from me. This is 3 tips to work better, 3 tips to live well every single Sunday in your inbox so you can take that calm, easy Sunday feeling into the week. You can sign up for free at karachase.com/newsletter. And I will see you next week for our next office hours. See ya.